What's up guys, Ruppy here welcoming you to my week 1 battle for the SAPL and its second season, and my first dip for quite some time back into a Wi-Fi league. That's not the Grand Pokemon League. Actually my first one that's not the Grand Pokemon League. Anyway, getting off topic. I have a bad habit of doing that, I need to stop. So week 1, my Columbus Swoo looking to start the season strong as per usual with a win. We were matched up against the Sylveons, no place they're from, just the Sylveons, coached by Magic, or Magic Blades as his in-game name is. So, you see my team off to the left is the same team from my team builder video as is the norm. His team is off to the right-hand side. Now, looking over his team real quick, he brought 4 things that I kind of expected him to. Actually, yeah, he brought 4 or 5 things. I expected the Mew. I had a feeling Vaporeon was coming because out of all of the 3 evolutions he has, that's the one that caused me the most headaches. I figured Weavile was going to come just for priority, just because of how fast my team is with VoltTurn spam. And I figured Flygon was probably going to surface, just because of the potential of Dragon Dance to try and outspeed me. I figured Mimikyu and Ditto were going to be his last 2, but I did not see either one of those, which was... Well, Mimikyu maybe not as much, because Mimikyu did not have a good matchup against my team. Ditto I was a little surprised, but I can understand why he didn't bring it. He brought the Meloetta instead, which, actually caused me, a few more headaches than I, was hoping it would. And he also brought the Kling-Klang, which was an interesting play, considering, Steelix gets Earthquake, and Kling-Klang, to my knowledge, can't do a whole lot to it. Landorus-Therian gets Earthquake, Pangoro has, Drain Punch, or Hammer Arm if I wanted to run that. Mega Beedrill gets, Really, if you look at my team, everything except Rotom-Wash has at least one move that, in its arsenal, even though in some cases I did not bring it, that could one-shot Kling-Klang. So it was interesting to me that he ended up bringing it. But anyway, we are going to go ahead and get into the battle and see exactly how this played out. So, Magic is going to go ahead and issue a challenge to me. I'm going to lead with my Mega Beedrill because I figured it was the safest play just to be able to Mega Evolve and just U-turn out right away on whatever he led with. He led with the Mew. I had a feeling he would. Looking over his team, I had a feeling there was a possibility his Mew might be Scarfed. But I decided to take the gamble anyway because I figured the more likely than not, his Mew was going to be a Stealth Rock setter just given his team composition and some of the things I said in the team builder video. Lo and behold, I turn out to be right as I U-turn out on it. He reveals the Tanga Berry, which is actually a fairly smart prep because it allows me to actually take that U-turn a lot better than I thought it would. Regardless, I'm going to go ahead and send Nerf this in, as Mew goes ahead and gets up rocks, which Talonflame is not going to be bothered by. Then again, I'm not running Gale Wings this game, so there's that. I proceed to go ahead and set up a substitute, wanting to try and enact my plan. I want Talonflame to kind of stunt this game. Again, borrowing more from Envy. That's probably a bad thing. He reveals the Ice Beam here. I figured he would have Knockoff, just because, but no, he reveals Ice Beam instead. So, knowing that a sub is pretty much pointless because Ice Beam, even at its lowest roll, does just enough to break my sub. I'm going to let him Ice Beam again as I just set up a Source Dance at this point. I'm not going to be able to get the Flame Charge off to boost my speed because from this point, one more Ice Beam is going to kill me. So let's go ahead and straight up Acrobatics him. And Nerf this is going to get the very first kill of the season for the Columbus Swoo. So, take that, detractors. He goes into his Weavile here, and even though I don't have an item, he's going to go ahead and use Knockoff and kill me. However, Nerf this is not going down that lightly, because it's going to leave his poor Weavile burnt on its way out the door. So... what was that about me drafting Talonflame and the flack I got for it? So, his Weavile is pretty much useless here at this point, and unfortunately he knows it. He's gonna go for a knockoff as I send in Monokuma the Pangoro. He does get rid of my Life Orb, which sucks, but this Drain Punch is going to completely annihilate Weavile regardless. And that's another kill to my name, as I go ahead and take a 5-4 lead in this battle. I apologize for the burn, but at the same time, I can't really, just because I ran Flame Body for a reason. So I'm gonna get Monokuma out of here as he goes into Meloetta. I figured a Focus Blast was coming. I send in Laundry Day, figuring it's probably the best thing I have, unfortunately, to kind of take special hits. He reveals Dazzling Gleam instead, and it's at this point that I notice the damage output. I was calculating him running Specs as he goes ahead and switches out here, going into Vaporeon as I end up Hydro Pumping, which is going to do nothing because of Water Absorb, obviously. But that damage output basically revealed to me that he is not Specs. When I saw his team preview, I had this weird feeling in the back of my mind that he was running a Scarf Meloetta, which, that damage output and no sign of a Life Orb damage even kind of confirms to me that that's probably the case. In regards to what just happened, I try to T-Bolt his Vaporeon, he protects. He goes into Flygon here, and I call this and proceed to Will-O-Wisp, not wanting to waste any momentum whatsoever. So Flygon is burned, so I figure if this thing is a Dragon Dancing set, or even a Scarf set, that's not really going to be doing him too much good anymore. And I'm just going to proceed to Flat Switch Laundry Day at this point. I contemplated leaving it in, but I figured sending in Quartz to get off an Intimidate as an extra insurance policy wouldn't hurt, especially since I'm pretty much free to go in and set up my rocks at this point. But here he kind of catches me off guard when he reveals the Draco Meteor, which this really concerned me because that did a pretty fair amount to Landorus. I'm not running a whole lot of special defense investment, but I am running some, and that did a pretty fair amount. So I'm convinced he's running a special Flygon at this point. And then he proceeds to do this. As he goes ahead and starts flexing, I guess he just wants to show off his muscles, his magic muscles. His Flygon's gonna reveal the Continental Crush from the Rocky MZ, which baffled me because to my knowledge, maybe it gets Ancient Power, I'm not 100% sure, but I didn't know what kind of rock move he had. The damage output, though, is really pitiful as I just go ahead and get my rocks up. I figured I was safe to stay in anyway, just because if he went for a Draco again, or on any other kind of special attack, he's at -2 now. He told me after the game that was actually a Stone Edge he used. So, he's actually running basically, he told me afterwards he was running a mixed Flygon. Draco Meteor is actually the only special attack it's running, and I believe he said he wasn't running the too much special attack investment, even. Regardless, he's gonna have Flygon out of there and go straight into his Kling Klang as I try to hit the Flygon with an HP Ice, and unfortunately that does not work out for me because Kling Klang is a Steel type. I just love the fact he called this thing Anti-Rust just because of its golden coloring, I suppose. But I'm gonna punish him for bringing Kling Klang in here as Quartz is gonna go ahead and shake the ground to its heart's content. It did not kill, which kind of surprised me a bit, which shows me he is running a defensive one, because that's the only way I figured it would have lived it. He also reveals the Toxic here, which is going to put Quartz on a timer. It kind of sucks, but at the same time, Quartz did what it really needed to. It put some pressure on him, and it got Stealth Rocks up to help chip away at his team even more. So at this point, Quartz has done its job, so my Steelix can kind of take over from there. But Quartz is going to go ahead and finish off this Kling Klang regardless, just to get another kill to its name, as my team is kind of spreading the love as far as the kill column is concerned. And I'm taking a pretty sizable lead here at this point and starting to take control of the game. He's down 2 Mons. Well, actually, no, he's down half his team at this point, because I forgot about the Mew kill. Flygon, Meloetta, and Vaporeon are all he has left, and he's going to go back into Flygon at this point. I know a Draco Meteor is coming, and it's probably going to actually... I was afraid it might potentially knock me out. So I get Quartz out of there and proceed to send in Goldmine, my giant golden Steelix, who's just going to smirk as his poor Flygon is going to try and launch a Draco Meteor. and it's not really going to do too much. Look at that smug grin this thing is wearing. It knew. It knew it wasn't going to be doing a whole lot, and it was just going to be laughing all the way to the bank over it. Regardless, he's going to go ahead and get this Flygon out of here. Since it's burned, I didn't want to risk the Toxic since I've already got status. So I just proceed to go ahead and Heavy Slam as he ends up bringing in Vaporeon, which it's going to do a decent chunk, but not enough that really made me comfortable. I considered staying in Intoxicating here because I knew I could live a Scald with my special defense investment. But instead I have to switch out because I know how valuable Gold Mine is to me right now. And I do not want to take any unnecessary risks, and a burn could be very detrimental to me. So I send in Laundry Day again, as he does in fact go for the Scald. It's gonna hit Laundry Day decently hard actually, which kind of shows me he has some special attack investment. But Laundry Day is going to be able to eat it up regardless, as we have a bunch of leftovers recovery going on right now, which is pretty par for the course. And this turn is kind of a waste because we're going to do this little song and dance again. I'm going to T-Bolt as he protects. You've seen this turn before. You know how it plays out. Not favorably for me, but it happens. Now, here I figure he's probably going to go back into Flygon because he did it the last time, expecting me to try T-Bolting again. So I try to go for a Hydro Pump to catch it, and I end up over-predicting as he ends up staying in, actually, which is a risky play in my opinion. He reveals a Hydro Pump of his own here, ends up missing, but that basically confirms to me at this point that, because I know 3 of his moves now, I'm figuring his last move is probably Wish, but that also shows me he does not have Heal Bell, which is why he ended up sacking off the Weavile instead of trying to preserve it, looking to try to get a Heal Bell off later in the game. He's going to go into Meloetta now instead of protecting again, as I'm going to go ahead and fire off my T-Bolt once again, and Laundry Day is in here against this Meloetta now. He shows me Energy Ball here, and he got a pretty low roll on that, and the leftovers recovery kind of helped me out. It's going to allow Laundry Day to be able to live that Energy Ball when it really had no business living it. And I'm going to Volt Switch out right into Apophobia, because at this point, I'm almost positive this thing is choiced in some way. I'm figuring Scarf. So I decided to Protect to be on the safe side, but him switching here confirms to me once and for all that that thing is in fact Choice, and considering the power output, the damage output, it's Choice Scarf. I know for certain now, because Energy Ball would have done nothing to Apophobia, and Apophobia is going to go ahead and U-turn out and take a kill along with it as his Flygon is going to go down, leading me up with a, I believe it's a 5-2 advantage at this point, as I'm going to go ahead and send in Quartz, kind of as death fodder, because I was hesitant to bring in something else. Rotom-Wash would have died to the Stealth Rocks, I do realize, which would have taken away his switch initiative by being able to see what I'm bringing in. But Quartz, as I said, did its job, and I figured something is probably going to unfortunately end up going down here anyway. So I just decided to go ahead and fire off an Earthquake, wanting to get as much damage off on this thing as possible to make it a little easier on something else to be able to pick this thing off. He's just going to go ahead, go for the safe Scald, and Quartz is going to bite the dust, unfortunately. But, as I said, it did its job, and it did it very well. As this Vaporeon's in here now, I know that Scarf Meloetta is still sitting around in the back, and it could potentially be a problem. I go into Monokuma here, and I proceed to try to go ahead and fire off a knockoff, because I want this thing's leftovers gone. He protects to get a little more leftovers recovery, which is fairly smart. I wasn't expecting a kill out of it. I was just wanting to get rid of its leftovers, and to put this thing in a position where my next hit from Monokuma would have been able to take it out. But, because, I mean, I'm without my Life Orb. I lost that earlier in the game. To my surprise, Knockoff actually does enough to kill it, which kind of tells me he might have been a more specially defensive set, perhaps? Which might have explained why he felt so confident keeping Vaporeon in it that one turn. Anyway, his Scarf Meloetta is all he has left. I'm going to Bullet Punch just to get some extra damage off. I was hoping it might have killed, but without the Life Orb, that's not going to happen. I'm going to lose Monokuma to a Dazzling Gleam. But I wanted to double check and be absolutely sure of what move he was going to lock himself into, because at this point, I knew as long as I kept Mega Beedrill and Steelix around, no matter what his Meloetta locked itself into, I was not losing this game. So I'm just going to go ahead and send in Goldmine because, as I said in my team builder, this thing was going to put a lot of pressure on him no matter what he brought. And that is exactly what happened. So I decided it's only fair that I give Goldmine the honor of the final kill. As his Dazzling Gleam does nothing, I'm going to Earthquake, and Meloetta's going to go down. And that is going to be the game. I guess if I really want to borrow from Envy again, just to be that guy, I guess. GG, it's Ruppy. Really missed out on that joke when I did my GBA mock final with Howler. But anyway, great game, Magic. You did play a really good game. I know the hacks kind of didn't exactly swing in your favor, but I wouldn't have run Flame Body on Talonflame as opposed to Gale Wings. Gale Wings made no sense if I was running a subset, so I figured Flame Body was the smarter ability in case of a scenario like what happened. And you can't fault me for predicting the Flygon coming in and trying to burn it. Though, to be fair, I was also not expecting Draco Meteor out of you. So, that's a 3-0 win for my Columbus Swoo. I know I could have probably played this game a little better, but, you gotta cut me a bit of slack. I'm getting used to this team still, because I am not used to having a team that is mostly, VoltTurn spam. And also wall breakers, so it's a new style for me as far as draft format's concerned, because most of what I've done thus far has been bulkier offense to some degree in varying forms. I know one team I ran was Rain out of it. That was my AABL team. But for what it's worth, I think I had a pretty solid first game. I played it fairly well. I could have probably maybe gotten a better differential out of it, but as you guys have probably learned from the AABL, I prefer to play a little more safely, and I would rather go for the win than go for the differential, unless differential is absolutely necessary, getting to the later points of the season, in which case then I will have no choice. But there was a game I played in the AABL that unfortunately didn't get uploaded, where I tried to shoot for the differential, because I had a 6-0 sitting in my lap, and I had it completely blow up in my face in the worst possible way, and ended up losing 1-0. So, yeah. Anyway, thank you guys so very much for watching. I have been Ruppy, and I will see you guys next time. Take care.